Welcome to the deep dive. We dig into source materials to pull out insights, really helping you get to the heart of the matter. Today we're jumping into some really fascinating excerpts from the loyal gatekeeper of Nilambag Palace. Our mission basically is to explore these incredible stories of integrity, loyalty, and generosity. Stuff that kind of defines the norms. We're going to pull out some surprising facts, some deep lessons, and hopefully give you some real aha moments about what being a person of honor actually means. Okay, so let's get into it. The sources, they start with this pretty powerful idea about how history gets presented and how certain human qualities just rise above everything else. What jumps out at me right away is this idea that some virtues just cut across all the usual lines.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating, I think, is that core belief they state right at the beginning. That things like philanthropy, bravery, devotion, they transcend the usual boundaries. The text says it straight out. These qualities do not recognize the fences of caste, the bonds of sect, or the borders of religion. It really sets the stage, doesn't it? It's saying true character isn't about labels.
Right. It's not about who you are on paper, but what you actually do.
Yeah.
Your actions. And speaking of actions, the source immediately brings up this figure, Kamal Khan Babi, whose generosity was, well, apparently legendary.
Oh, absolutely legendary. His reputation for datery, which is this profound, almost limitless generosity, it echoed all over Gujarat. It wasn't just known. The source uses this great image saying his drumbeats of generosity were heard everywhere, which makes you think, how does someone get that famous for just one quality?
That's a really good question. And the source gives us this amazing story, an anecdote. Apparently, the Nawab Sahib of Junagadh, he's a powerful ruler, right?
Right.
He hears about Kamal Khan Babi's fame, his curati or glory, and decides, okay, I'm going to test this guy.
Yeah, picture this. The Nawab's riding in his carriage near Sakarbagh in Junagadh. He passes a fakir, a mendicant holding incense. The fakir offers some to the Nawab, and the Nawab stops the carriage. This is where he sets up his test for Kamal Khan.
So the Nawab says to Kamal Khan Babi, kind of pointedly, oh, I feel this sudden surge of joy right now. And Kamal Khan Babi's reaction is just, well, it's mind-blowing.
It really is. He offers, right there on the spot, to give all 24 villages of Manavadar to this fakir. But then he goes even further. He challenges the Nawab, saying, essentially, okay, you give away your city, Junagadh.
Wow. Okay, so the Nawab, understandably, is like, how can you even suggest that? And Kamal Khan Babi's answer is the real kicker here. He says, that's how one becomes a Kamal Khan in this world.
Exactly. It wasn't just about giving something away. It was a whole mindset, a kind of boundless generosity that was so absolute, it just completely reframed what wealth even meant. So for you, the listener, it's not just a story about charity. It shows that real generosity, maybe it isn't measured by what you have, but by what you're genuinely willing to let go of. Even when you're facing someone powerful, it sort of redefines wealth, doesn't it? Not as having stuff, but as the ability to give it all up.
That's a powerful thought. And if Kamal Khan Babi shows us the peak of generosity, our next story dives into something just as deep: loyalty, unshakable loyalty. The sources bring us to this man named Mubarak. It starts when the Bhavnagar Maharaj and the Gandalf Kaur Sahib are out riding, and the Bhavnagar Maharaj spots this young man.
Right, and this moment of recognition is key. The Maharaj doesn't need background checks or interviews. The source says he saw the jewel in him instantly, in one look, in 1 second. Just like that. So he calls the young man over.
And the young man says he's Mubarak, a Muslim from the city community. And when the Maharaj asks if he'd like to join his service, Mubarak's reply is just incredibly profound. He doesn't just say yes. He sees it as the greatest possible fortune, like an auspicious rise, almost divine grace. What does that tell you? That immediate, total willingness to serve.
It really speaks volumes, doesn't it, about this inherent sense of purpose, maybe, a deep loyalty waiting for an outlet. It doesn't feel like ambition in the usual sense, it feels like commitment. So Mubarak is brought to Bhavnagar, made a Darwan, a gatekeeper. And the source really hammers home how exceptional he was. It says when Mubarak was on duty, the ruler of 1,800 villages could literally sleep soundly, knowing no enemy in the world could harm him. That's more than just physical security, that's total peace of mind.
Absolutely. And that trust wasn't just about guarding the gate. It grew incredibly quickly, to the point where he was given the keys to the entire Bhavnagar royal treasury. I mean, just think about that. Even the queen, the source says, would ask Mubarak for her own ornaments.
That's almost like family-level trust, isn't it? It's almost unheard of, really, especially that dynamic between a monarch and, well, a gatekeeper. And that sets the stage for this really dramatic moment, this test. One night, the queen's favorite necklace is missing from the cabinet. And Mubarak is called in immediately. She asks him point blank, "Did you take it?"
Hmm.
What does that direct question do, after all that trust?
It must have been devastating. But Mubarak, apparently without any arrogance, despite the trust he held, he does something really significant. He spreads his shawl on the ground and he swears. He swears by his 5 daily prayers, his namaz, and on the Quran Sharif, the holy book, that he didn't take it.
And the Mahara watching this believes him instantly. No hesitation, there's no need for more questions, no investigation, which shows you how much weight Mubarak's word, his oath, carried, and the Mahara's faith in him.
That's powerful. The Maharaj believes him, but Mubarak, he's still deeply hurt. Just the accusation itself wounds him profoundly, even though he was believed. He actually considers leaving his service right then. The source says his prayer afterwards was so intense it shook the cosmos. Yeah, it shows that for him, integrity wasn't just about being innocent, right? It was about the absolute pain of even being suspected.
And the solution, how the necklace is found, comes the next morning. The queen is reciting the Sundarkand. That's a chapter from the Hindu epic, the Ramayana, often read for finding solutions or strength, and she suddenly remembers she'd used her favorite necklace as a bookmark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she put it inside the book to mark her page, and there it is.
Okay, so the necklace is found, but what happens next? This is what really makes the story stand out for me. The queen tells the Maharaj right away. He calls Mubarak back, and the Maharaj ruler of 1,800 villages, the Lord of Bhavnagar, stands in front of Mubarak, his gatekeeper, and he humbly asks for forgiveness.
Yeah.
He admits their haste and their mistake.
I mean, think about that. A king apologizing to his gatekeeper, it's extraordinary. It flips the whole hierarchy on its head. But even after this huge apology, even with the necklace found, Mubarak doesn't change his mind.
No, he's unswayed. He refuses to stay in service. He says he can't live with the blemish, the stain of having been accused. He even offers the treasury keys back right then and there.
So this shows you, the listener, another side of integrity, doesn't it? It's not just about innocence. It's about this absolute sense of self-worth, valuing your reputation, your honor, above even royal favor.
The Maharaj tries to change his mind, pleads with him, but Mubarak holds firm. He leaves the royal service. But that's still not the end of the story. It takes another turn, a really poignant one, when Mubarak eventually dies.
Yeah, when Mubarak passes away, someone tells the Maharaj, and the Maharaj's reaction is, well, it's just incredible. He gives instructions. He says, when Mubarak's funeral procession, his janaza, passes Nilambag Palace, call me. He declares he himself will carry Mubarak's bier to the graveyard.
And he actually does it. Now, in Islamic tradition, people usually take turns carrying the bier, right? Share the burden. But the Maharaj insists. He carries Mubarak the entire way himself. He won't let anyone else take over. Can you imagine? A king carrying his former gatekeeper all that way. It's an act of profound, remorse? Respect.
Both, I think. Deep remorse and immense respect. The source says the Maharaj was reflecting on how wrongly he'd accused this incredibly loyal man. He noted how humble Mubarak was. Apparently, he'd even eat the Maharaj's leftover food, and he died so poor he didn't even own a proper shroud. And then at the graveside, the Maharaj himself puts the first handful of earth on the grave, and he asks for forgiveness again. Mubarak, forgive us. We didn't recognize you while you were alive. A king seeking forgiveness from a commoner, even after death. It's a powerful lesson in leadership and humility.
And then the final tribute. After Mubarak is buried, his marble grave is built. The Maharaj gets permission from the Muslim community, and he has an inscription put on it. Apparently, if you go to the Bhavnagar graveyard today, you can still see it. Mubarak's grave says, Lock of Nilambag.
Lock of Nilambag. Just think about what that signifies. It means Mubarak, this humble gatekeeper, was the true guardian. He was the security, the lock, not just of the palace physically, but of its integrity, of the Maharaj's trust. That apology, carrying the bier, this inscription, it tells you, doesn't it, that a leader's true measure might actually be found in their ability to be humble, to admit mistakes, especially towards someone considered lower than them.
Wow. We've really gone deep into these lives today, haven't we? Kamal, Khanbabi, and Mubarak. 2 figures from these sources who just embodied generosity, loyalty, integrity, pushing these virtues to their absolute limits.
They really challenge us, these stories, to look past the surface, past status and labels. They remind us that real character, real honor, deep trust, these things exist outside of wealth or position or religion. The true test of a person, maybe even a leader, comes in those difficult moments, doesn't it? In how they handle tests and whether they can show true humility and respect.
Absolutely. These aren't just old stories. They feel incredibly relevant. They're lessons for all of us. So as you think about this deep dive, here's something to chew on. In a world that often seems driven by ego, by hierarchy, what does it actually take for someone powerful to admit they were wrong? To publicly honor truth and integrity, even if it means humbling themselves before someone society sees as beneath them? And maybe more personally, how can you cultivate that kind of profound trust and integrity? And how can you recognize and value it in the people around you, no matter what their job title or station in life might be?